Yo, what's up peoples? This is Avilo. I'm bringing you a video guide. I started doing these a while ago, and yeah, I'm gonna start these up again. The plan is to have 1 to 2 videos per week, 1 to 2 YouTube uploads, and people were asking for guides, so I'm gonna make the first one, of course, a mech guide. So what is this one going to be? This one is going to be Widowmine oriented. Let me take these off because I can't see, and underneath I have my actual glasses. This one is going to be Widowmine focused mech, or like Widowmine. I'm not sure exactly what to call it, but basically mech with Widowmine harass openers. Now I did do a guide on this on 2 factory Widowmine opener, which is what we're going to see here in the game. But I wanted to make a more full guide going over like replay of a game I played like a week or 2 ago. And so for people that are wondering how to play mech, or I'll just go over my thoughts during the game during this replay. And yeah, you'll see again, I made a 2 factory Widowmine drop opener already. That's another guide, you guys. I have all these guides on my YouTube as a playlist, so you can go through those. There's a lot of useful information, and I'm trying. Again, this will be a weekly thing. Maybe even, but I'll do maybe 2 or 3 per week, just to get those uploads there. Since obviously I'm live streaming mainly, but also want that pre-recorded, juicy pre-recorded content, legit content, guys. Anyway, so here we go. This is a game I played on the NA server, of course, against this E-Sun Maverick guy. I'm in the top left. Green town here. He's in the bottom right. He is the blue Protoss. And yeah, I just want to go. So I'm gonna go on ×4, and I'm gonna speed through the game. I'll do it from my vision, so that way I can tell you guys, what I was thinking during the game. This is gonna be more, a lot more commentary. So obviously I scouted, and this game actually went for the proxy factory opener with double gas, and Protoss, as we all know, very difficult to play against right now on the ladder because of the previous buffs that they got to voids and stuff. So this is a little variation on double factory opener, and the idea is you build the proxy factory next to their base, you build one in your base, and then you get an armory so that your Widow Mines can be cloaked, and you lift the factory in to try and... Now, if you're in bronze through diamond, this actually could win the game by itself. And Masters and GM players, obviously, you're going to have to do more after that. So you're making the mine, scouting for his expansion, seeing the timing of that. The factory back home is actually for a cyclone, a defensive cyclone, or a defensive mine. So you can see some mine in here. I actually did this badly. I forgot to burrow it. Don't forget to burrow it. Look how long it took me to burrow that. Could have probably got more probes there. Anyways, the point is the pressure. So now while you're doing that, you just keep making mines one by one. You can try and distract them with the Reaper and just keep trying to do damage to the mines. Now, back at my base, I actually have a starport building, and I'm researching the Widowmine speed burrow. On the factory, you can get a cyclone out of there so you can defend against the potential oracles. And again, just using the mines, trying to, do as much damage as I can to them. This one, I'm not sure why that's not reburrowed. I must have forgotten. Like, I actually forgot that was there to reburrow it. So, just goes to show you, builds like this do require a little bit of multitasking. Now, in this game, you'll notice, something I tell you guys on stream all the time is, against Protoss, you're going to be behind in the game just because the nature of how the game is. And by the way, this one I just walked into his base. You can actually do that too. Sometimes they don't notice it. You just walk it in, and yeah, there you go. Now, again, this 3 times in this game, I haven't even done this. I want you to keep this in mind, guys. I didn't even do this perfectly this game. There were 3 times I forgot. I wasn't paint. I didn't burrow, and then. But hey, you get this off. Oh, I got another. The one from in his base gets like 10 there though. Because I've kept making that. This is what I was just, the point I was just going to go into. People, you need to do damage against Protoss, right? This is a good build to do. You can do a lot of damage, even if they have technically, defended it they still have to keep defending it. So back home, the command center, double factory making tanks and mines. Now, I think I should have even gone 2 Cyclone here instead of the tank, because he does a lot of counter damage with the oracles. He finally shut down the proxy factory. But if we look at I've killed 12 workers. And that's why this build is so good, because I've killed 12 workers. Now it's 2 base against 2 base. I'm still very far behind. The thing is, if you don't do some damage, you'll be behind. I've built a 3rd factory. But now, here's where the Widow Mine drops come in. So, there's 1 drop. And again, you can rebarrel the mines to try and get the probe. I keep rebarreling it, trying to, because I want to go for more than 1 probe, obviously. But here's where the fun starts with this build. You keep making medivacs 1 at a time. You're actually making a ton of mines. And something people don't realize about Mech, which I feel like, hopefully you guys will copy this for your TVP games, and I'm sure this will start showing up in the ladder a lot more. People don't realize, mines are kind of like the Marines of Mech, I would say. That's how I would that's how I would tell you guys to think about this. Widow Mines are basically like Marines for Mech play. So you should build a lot of them and trade them constantly for probes, for zealots, for whatever. There's an oracle that gets shut down. They're also good to place on the map. There's different you want to place them at rally points, at bases to delay bases. That mine right there, I just walked into his base. I didn't even need a medevac for this one here. And that's something you can do in your games. You don't always need the medevac. Sometimes you can just actually walk them in if you're distracting the Protoss enough. So I walk one in there, and then I get these in. And one thing you want to do is leave one and then pick up the rest. So I should have picked these up. When you do the Widow Mine, Widow Mine centric drops, always leave one so that it's a threat that they have to deal with, and then pick up and then send your medevac away. And I killed another 5 or 6 probes there. So again, guys, against sending out another drop, and you really want to be meticulous with sending out the drops with the mines and later on hellbats if you want. But again, it makes it, you're equalizing the game, you're equalizing the economy, and that's all right now in the current meta, that's all TVP is about. It's about equalizing the economy of the game. 2 mines pop out here, I target the Warp Prism, kill it, and there you go. So, and the mine's still doing damage at the guy's base. He still has to deal with those. So this is kind of like medevacs with Mech. I'm sending out 2 more Again, these medevacs, guys, you've seen how persistent I've been with them the whole game, just sending them out over and over again. So now I'm gonna drop his 3rd base. I drop 2 mines, or drop 1 mine, burrow, other mine, burrow, and then I drop a hellbat. Now, while this is going on, there's another medevac that's going to be prepared to be sent. I'm microing this, but there's another drop ready, so he won't expect it, because I'm actually going to hit the same place twice. And that's a little tactical thing you can do, because they just defended it. Why would he drop there again? So then you drop there again. But the point is, I've killed 53 workers. So now, I'm a Mech Terran ahead. I'm at 100 supply to 82. I'm ahead of him. I'm still again, this is Widow Mine Mech, so I'm still making the mines. So this drop did a ton, killed a lot of probes, killed... It's just constant worker harass here. And then while I'm doing this, 4 Hellions harass over here. So this is the beauty of Mech over Bio, and the production tab, I'm making more mines, still making them. Again, I feel like people that want to learn how to play Mech, multitasking drops can be difficult when you're learning, and so maybe this style might be difficult for some people to learn at first, especially if you're in the lower leagues. But I feel like anybody could do this, and it's also possible the first 2 mine drops could actually kill somebody in the lower leagues as well, in like bronze to plat or diamond. So yeah. Now I'm just macroing Mech units, 5 mines building at a time, still building. There is a certain point where you actually do want to build Hellions instead of mines as more of like a fighting force. But mines are, this Widow Mine Mech style is really good for you just have resources to harass their mineral line with. Hellbats are good for And also mines are kind of good. Like they do a lot of damage if they hit targets. You know, in fights. If you have like 10 or 15 mines, you can use them, go fight, trade with them, and then remake actual gas unit like you know Thors and whatnot. And you can see I'm building 4 starports here in production. So all the mine damage lets me stay alive. It lets me worker harass them, while at the same time now I'm doing the Banshee transition. Now here's another thing with Mech. Now you notice I stopped building Widow Mines. Like, so me building the starports in my main here, or right in my natural, that correlates to me building Hellions now because I'm actively trying to save Vespian gas to build so that I can have that for the Banshee production. Banshee, Vikings, or BCs or whatever. But just like the bio style I've been playing this week, where I was adding in the Banshees, I was already doing that with Mech, and it's really good to do because you don't want to stay. I'd say don't go past 5 factories with Mech. So you can see, again, sending out another mine drop. Mines on the map for vision. You want mines out like on the map at bases. This drop might do some damage. Meanwhile, let's go to my vision. I'm pushing here. I may have even forgotten about the drop at the top. But again, the Widow Mine drop early game have put me in a really good spot. That now I'm ahead as a. You should never be ahead as Terran playing against Protoss, but that's the situation. The mines have given me that lead. That economic lead. And you'll notice I'm on 3 bases, but I'm almost max supply. I'm about to be maxed against Protoss that is on 4 base, but I've done so much damage that it's fine. He tries to zealot harass me here. I did bring my army back to defend because I didn't want the game to get out of control. So I'm just maintaining my lead, getting upgrades, and yeah. So now I'm building all. At this point, I have how many tanks do I have? I have 10 tanks. So from here, another thing about mech games. Once you've reached like 140, 150 supply, and you already have like 10 to 12 siege tanks, you really don't always have to build more tanks. You switch all your production into Hellions and Banshees, which is what we see in the production tab. 5 Hellions being built, and now Banshees. So I'm switching. This is the beautiful thing about mech, guys. You don't have to always build out of your factories gas units. You can switch to pure Hellion production and then spend the gas from your starports later on in the game. I feel like a lot of people that don't understand that against Protoss. Against Protoss in particular, that's whenever people might say mech is difficult to do against Protoss, it's because they don't understand it. They haven't done this or learned it, and that's why I'm teaching you guys. That's why I'm going to be making these guides. I can put together some other mech guides too, because there's a lot of information to absorb to learn how to play mech. Yeah, you don't always build tanks, especially when it gets later in the game. You can still build them, but to be honest, you want to get out of like pure ground to ground and start going into like BC, air units, Banshees, because a lot of times the Protoss will transition to Sky Toss, and you don't want to be on like just 20 siege tanks against carriers and Tempests. That's throughout the thousands of mech games that I've played, guys. That's one of the things that I learned, is that you don't want to really ever, almost ever go past 5 factories unless you're playing like, you're going to keep making mines and play like the style where you just trade and you bash your head in them. This is like the optimal mech style where you're actually playing for late game. You can compete late game and you can actually outplay the Protoss and beat them late game with this style of play. Now you notice my units get stuck there. And another thing about this Widow Mine, early game, mid game Widow Mine mech style, mines are good as the game goes on. Like they're actually good against like if they do get like 10 Tempests out or whatever. If you run 15 mines underneath the Tempests, or if you get a good flank, just like against Broodlords, like you can actually win fights with like 10 to 15 mines, a bunch of Thors, and like. You don't always have to transition to Sky Terran against Sky Protoss. There are some times you can make up the difference for, not having 50... Basically, it's you don't always have to go Vikings. Sometimes you can get away with like tempo play. I guess I would call it a tempo play where you make mines and Thors, and you just make so many mines that you can, you know, fight. But here, again, Banshee transition. You'll notice I do consistently keep a base of, like a base army of mech units. So if I do lose my mech units, I rebuild, like, you know, enough gas units and tanks and Thors, and then I fill out the rest of my army with Banshee, Viking, Raven. Again, because you got to think about it like this: they build Zealots, you build Hellions, right? You're matching the resources, and then you eventually get a more expensive gas army. But yeah, if you know, a lot of Protosses love building lots of charge lots, then you build Blue Flame Hellions as a response. Building 10 tanks against Zealots is not a good idea, but having Hellbats will work. At this point, he's pretty dead. It was, you know, I played this game on stream. It's surprising that he's still in the game at this point. You know, that's what we call getting Protoss. Like, I've killed 115 workers at this point in the game, and that's what's necessary on the current patch. You have to, you know, kill a lot of. You have to equalize the worker count to be able to be in the game, and that's what this build does. And that's why. Again, you guys can watch the other guide I put out on the double factory opener. This is more of the gist of, like, you know, teaching you guys like how to think about it, think about the game, what to do here. And yeah, so, you know, early game Widow Mine drops, get on 4 to 5 factory, transition to starports. You know, as the game goes on, remember to switch your production to Hellions and Banshees instead of continuing to make Thors, you know. So at some point, all these factories are building Hellions instead, and then all your starports are consuming all of your Vespian gas. So yeah, there you go, guys. Again, I'm going to be putting out a couple guides per week, whether it's like this, where I go over a replay. I'm going to do... Also, you may have noticed in that playlist that I have, it's on my main page, again, it's just Avilo StarCraft 2 guides. A couple years back, I started doing like a tactical tips and tricks series where I was doing, like, you know, hotkeys, like putting a worker in your mineral line to repair when your units, like little tips and tricks, just like short 3 to 5 minute videos. So I'm gonna be starting that up again as well, where, you know, I just, you know, I'll do like an upload, couple uploads per week on those. And yeah, so, you know, make sure you like, subscribe to the video, leave comments. I will read the comments, guys. And also for, you know, 5 factories, 2 with reactors, 1 starport in the early and mid game to have this set up for Widow Mine Mech. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Not sure if I'm going to be streaming this weekend, but I will let you guys know via the YouTube community tab. And yeah, I will see you later. So try this out on the ladder. Try out Widow Mine Mech. If you think that, you know, Mech is difficult against Protoss, try this out with the Widow Mine Harass early game. Make a lot more mines in your composition, at least early and mid game, and then that'll let you get into late game where you're building like Thors, tanks, Banshees, BCs, and all that other stuff. So yeah, see you later, guys. Peace out, peoples. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and yeah, I will see you later.